Welcome! Here, there will be no foolish wand waving or silly incantations in this class. As such, I don't expect many of you to appreciate the subtle science and exact art that is chemistry. However, those select few who possess the predisposition, I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses. I can tell you how to bottle fame, brew glory, and even stop her in death. Then again, maybe some of you have come to ECTC in possession of those abilities so formidable that you feel confident enough not to pay attention. Welcome to Chemistry 140. My name is Dr. Kelly, and I will be your instructor this semester. Real quickly, let's make sure everybody's in the right class. Chemistry 140, Introductory General Chemistry. Chemistry 140, as it says in the course description, introduces topics in general chemistry, including properties of matter, stoichiometry, gases, atomic structure, bonding, acids and bases, oxidation and reduction, and nuclear chemistry. It is intended for students as a one-semester course in general chemistry. It's recommended for students in the health sciences. If you're in this class, it's generally because you're thinking of becoming something in the healthcare field. Dietitian is a common major I have in here. I sometimes have some agriculture people in here, depending on where they're going for their agricultural degree. I frequently have radiography, dental hygienist, those sort of careers. If those are the sort of careers you're interested in, this is the absolutely 100% right class for you, and we are going to have an awesome time together. This course also counts as a general elective if you're somebody taking this class just to fulfill a general elective. I should point out that there are easier chemistries to take. If you're just taking this class to fulfill a general educational elective, let me recommend you come over to my Chemistry 120, Chemistry, a Cultural Approach, and that will be a class that will help you achieve a Gen Ed natural science credit with very little pain or not a lot of late nights. This course, because it is required for people's major, it is an American Chemical Society designed course. What that means is that there is a national body that tells me what material I have to cover in this class and what standards I have to teach this class to. That means I have to cover a certain set material in this class. The pace of this class, while not mind-blowing, is fairly rigorous. We have to meet certain deadlines. We have to cover certain material. That being said, this isn't 170. The majority of you who take this class are going to finish this class with a passing grade. It's very, sorry, my phone. You'll often hear my phone go off during lecture because I constantly forget to mute it. Now I've totally distracted myself. My apologies. Well, you know what? Since I've distracted myself anyway, why don't you write down Hermione? Write down Hermione. Everybody write down Hermione. All right, now that you've written down Hermione, we'll continue here. What I was saying was that this course has standards, but it's not a cutter course by any stretch of the imagination. If you do what I tell you in this course in terms of the homework, listening to the lectures, studying, you should be able to pass this class with a passing grade, and most of you will. However, if you don't do the work and you don't study, you're not going to pass. It's that simple. This isn't 170. This class does, however, serve as a great prep course for 170. So those of you for whom this class really, really excites and you enjoy, and I know that will be all of you, because who doesn't love chemistry? I would welcome you in my 170 down the road. Or hopefully I'll eventually be offering 150 online, and I'd welcome you in that as well. Couple things. There is a math prerequisite for this course. You should be meeting the math prerequisite shown there. It looks like the course numbers are a little out of date. You have to be eligible to take college algebra. That means you have to have achieved a passing grade in Math 85 or meet that ACT score. If you can take college algebra this semester if you wanted to, then you can take this class. This class does use quite a bit of math. There are going to be 2 tests that are really working one ratio after another. If you can work ratios, if you can do percents, then this class isn't going to be too bad for you. But be aware that this class does use math. If you're somebody who is math phobic, as in when I say you're going to use math, if you're not going, yay, I love math, then I would strongly recommend that you take this class in person, where I can give you more immediate help. Now, I love helping you, and I can help you online, and I do help you online. You'll be amazed at the tools that I have to help you online. Most of the time, you'll ask me a question over a homework question, and I will actually be able to generate some sort of a video with which to respond to your question. So keep those questions coming when you have them. I have a question help message board set up for you to ask me questions. I consider our interaction and our conversation so important that I have an entire second part of this welcome lecture to help you in the art of asking questions online, because you don't realize that it's a lot more stilted to communicate with somebody online than it is face-to-face. I can't read facial expressions online, and I can't, not only can I not read facial expressions online, but I can't read your mind online. I can't ask immediate follow-up questions online. So you want to be as very detailed in your communication with me as possible. By detailed, I don't mean 3 or 4 paragraphs, right? Matter of fact, 3 or 4 paragraphs can sometimes be bad, right? Most of the time, 1 or 2 sentences can do, but you need to be complete. And it's almost like in 3rd grade, right? Be complete. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I have an entire second part of this welcome lecture over how to talk and communicate with me. I should stress the fact that I don't answer my phone. There is nothing you can call me about when it comes to chemistry that I can help you with over the phone. In order for us to communicate, part of it has to be visual, and I can't look at you over the phone. So don't call, don't leave me phone messages, just won't happen. Email me, use the question help message board. Course competency is a bunch of academic stuff. Textbook! There is no physical textbook for this course. When you enrolled in this course, you paid a course fee for access to the homework program and access to the e-text. So let's meet the homework program. Homework program, come on down. So this is your course shell. And one thing you'll notice in your course shell is you see a button over here labeled Mastering Chemistry. When you click Mastering Chemistry, it'll take you to a second link, and I know that's clunky, but there's no way around it. It'll take you to a second link that will create a lesson like that. I'm getting an error message because I don't have access in the preview mode, but what will happen is it'll pass you through to that second screen, and then it will pass you through to Ta-da, Mastering Chemistry. My view looks a little bit like yours, and I don't really have the ability to mirror your view. But my understanding is from looking at other students when they've come to see me in my office is that this is basically what it looks like when you log in here. You have a list of assignments and a calendar on which to do them. And we'll go over the different types of assignments and all this in a second. But a couple important things I want to draw to your attention over here is you have a scores button. All your grades for this class are in Mastering Chemistry. By clicking that scores, you can see immediately what your grade is in the class. Your grade at the end of the semester should not be any sort of a surprise to you. You can view it by looking at that scores button. Matter of fact, if you email me and ask me your grade, Dr. Kelly, what's my score or grade in the class? Guess what I do? I click that button under you, and I just email you a copy of the profile that you'd be seeing if you click that button. So you can see your grades at any time right there. The other big button you want right here is e-text. Now make sure that your pop-up blocker is off. You have to have your pop-up blocker off when you're in Blackboard in order to pass through to Mastering Chemistry, and you have to have your pop-up block in order to get to your e-text. You click e-text, you get this, and then you get this. And this e-text lands you at the table of contents. And one thing you'll notice is I tend to jump around a little bit, particularly from that first exam, because we need very little of the first chapter. What we need is really the second chapter and the third chapter for your first test. If you click this down arrow, you'll see the section numbers, 2.2, 2.3. If you look at your syllabus, your schedule, and we'll look at the course schedule together in a second, and talk about some more, you'll see where I have book section here on the schedule. These book schedules numbers, 3.1, 3.2, 2.1, those correspond to these numbers right here. So when I say on day 1 of the class you're covering 2.1, that means over here you're covering 2.1. And if you click it, ta-da, it will take you to 2.1 in your text so that you can read your text and get a second view of the material. And by second view, I mean I try to cover everything very thoroughly in my lectures. And we'll talk about my lectures in a second. But that's your e-text. Let me go back to the syllabus. That's your e-text, and that's where all your homework, tests, and quizzes are located in that Mastering Chemistry program. In addition to that Mastering Chemistry program that you've already paid for, you do need a calculator for this class. I strongly, strongly recommend, and the bookstore has it as a strong recommended item, the purchasing of a TI Instruments 30X 2S 2-line scientific calculator. It costs you about $20. If you're a math whiz, you enjoy math, you love math, and you already have a calculator that you're familiar with and that you know how to operate, don't buy this one, right? The only reason I tell you to buy this one is if you don't have a calculator, buy it. If you are uncomfortable with math and math phobic and you're still taking this class online, buy this calculator, because every calculator's keys are set up differently, and it would be impossible for me to give instructions on a model of calculator that I don't have in front of me. Therefore, to help you when you have calculator issues, I'm having people buy this calculator so that I can tell them how to push the buttons and get things into the calculator. This calculator is not magical, it's not special. I just noticed it's super cheap. Bookstore sells it for $20. I have seen it at back to school time as low as $9 at other locations, and the reason I say other locations is I can find this calculator at Kroger's, right? I think this is the most common model of calculator sold in the known universe. It's also the calculator that before I began suggesting people buy it, is the calculator most people walked into the class already owning from high school. So all my instructions on how to use your calculator will be based on this calculator. But if you already know how to use a calculator, then that's not really a concern for you. I answer questions. Oh, well, I've talked about that. Here's a periodic table. A lot of times you will need the periodic table in order to answer questions. Here's one periodic table. There is another periodic table available for you. Whoops, you don't need that. Shoot. There's another periodic table available for you in your course shell. Go back to your course shell. See this thing labeled Survival Guide? That has a periodic table and a bunch of other figures that I find useful in doing the homework and taking the class. So that's your supporting material, and I would print out that survival guide and have it with you when you're doing the homework. All right, so now let's get to the part that you're really interested in. How do you take this class? This class is going to set up on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule during the semester. It'll be a 4-day-a-week schedule during the summer, and I'll tell you what those 4 days are. Depends summer to summer. Every Tuesday and Thursday, you're going to have a new assignment posted in Blackboard. More days than that if it's summer. Your assignments are usually due 1 week after they are signed. Let me be very clear here. I say due, what I really mean is late. They'll really be late 1 week after they are assigned. For example, assignments due one Tuesday will be considered late the following Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Important thing, important thing. I am in Elizabethtown, which is on this Eastern Standard Time. I know a lot of you live in Litchfield or in Grayson County, and that's on Central Time, so watch out for that time zone. My wife's family's from Grayson County, related to half of you through her. Her mother's one of like 13 kids. Also, I realize a lot of you, I get a lot of people from Paducah. I'm a native Murrian. Woohoo! So I recognize you guys too are on Central Time Zone, what I grew up on. However, this course, because it's out of Elizabethtown, operates on the Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so when I say these assignments, what am I talking about? Your assignments most days consist of 3 parts. They consist of a lecture that you listen to, a lecture quiz, and a homework assignment. Lectures are located under the lecture button in Blackboard. See where it says lecture? Lectures. Also, let's take a look at that schedule here. Let's ignore the first day and let's look at the second day. So, the second day of class, you're going to listen to a lecture 1, 2, and 3. After you listen to those lectures, you have one of 2 options. You can take your lecture quiz and do the homework, or you can read those sections in the book and then do the homework and the lecture quiz. But after you listen to those lectures, and those lectures are going to be located under the lecture button, and I divide your lectures up by test, so lectures for test 1, and it tells you that you're going to listen to lectures 1, 2, and 3 the first day. All my lectures are YouTube videos. So you click the link, it takes you to YouTube.
These are all examples of physical properties.
And let's see if I can get it to show up.
Get liquid
there,
water,
see? I have I'm talking over myself here. Quiet me. I have a virtual pen program, so I can write on YouTube videos just like I could if you were standing in front of me in class. So all of my lectures are YouTube videos. All my lectures also have hidden keywords. I will be talking to you, and suddenly in the middle of talking to you, I'll tell you, write down serious. Everybody write down serious. S-I-R-I-U-S. Everybody write down serious. Really, seriously, write it down. Write down serious. And now I'm writing it down myself. And I'll have these random keywords that I'll tell you to write down, or sometimes, to prevent people being creative, I'll just randomly say the word that doesn't belong. Like serious, serious, serious. You know what to do. These are my way of verifying that you're listening to my lectures. Before I began hiding these keywords in my lectures, I was having more than half the class fail. Since I've begun hiding these keywords in my lectures, more than 90% of you are passing the class. Why? Because half of you weren't listening to the lectures. So I've begun hiding these keywords in the lecture. And what you have to do is you have to go into Mastering Chemistry. Let me get to your Mastering Chemistry. And I've been making lecture quizzes. For example, after you listen to lectures 1, 2, and 3, you have to take lecture quiz 1. So you'll go to Mastering Chemistry. You'll click lecture quiz 1. And what you'll notice is this, whoa, shoot, stop that. Whoops. What you'll see is that lecture quiz 1 has nothing to do with chemistry. It's just asking you to write down those keywords that I hid throughout the lecture. And because I'm so awesome, I make that 5% of your grade. I'm giving you 5% of the grade, your grade, basically just for attending class through these lecture quizzes. So you're going to have to take a lecture quiz after you listen to the lectures. Then you do your homework. And your homework is the traditional homework that you would expect in a class. Again, that's found under assignments. And you'll click homework 2, student view. Let me give you student view. And what you'll see is it's a collection of problems. One thing you'll notice is that you have some extra credit. Let's go to how I'm grading the homework real quickly. Homework is meant to be a game that is rigged in your favor. First of all, homework is worth 15% of your final grade in the class. Lecture quiz is 5%, homework 15%. Homework is meant to be a rigged grade in your favor, meaning homework is meant to benefit you. I grade it really nice and easy, folks. Listen to these settings. I always show you whether your answer is incorrect. I give you 6 attempts to work a question. The sole exception is on multiple choice and true and false homework. But I give you 6 attempts to work a homework problem. I only deduct 3% every time it's wrong for those first 5 attempts. If this class is the right class for you, you should have trouble with some of those homework problems. If you're going through all those homework problems and just getting them boom, 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 right on your first attempt, then guess what? This class is too easy for you. My hope is that, okay, you get a homework problem wrong, and you're going to say, okay, I wasn't sure whether I was supposed to multiply or divide on that one. I multiplied, I got it wrong, so now this time I'm going to divide, right? My hope is that once you get it wrong, you have a good second guess. All right, you get it wrong the second time. Oh, man, I'm going to have to go back to my notes, go back to the lecture, go to the book. I need to look it up somewhere. So then you're going to try that third attempt based on going back and reviewing your notes, maybe talking to a friend over text or on the phone. And by the way, it's not cheating to get a friend's help over homework. I would encourage you to find a friend to help you. If you know somebody else who's taking the class online, work together on the homework. Working together on tests is cheating, But working together on homework is 100% acceptable and encouraged. I know I had a class once where they had like a Sunday night meetup. They all gathered with their laptops around a table on Sunday nights and would do the week's homework together. So find some help on your own for that third attempt. Then after 3 attempts, if you still have it wrong, then come and ask me on the question help message board. Sometimes I have people ask me about getting something wrong after they've only tried it once. You don't want to do that, and here's why. Part of what I want you to learn in this class is how to work through problems, how to think through problems. This shouldn't be a straightforward plug and chug. It's part of the learning process for you to get something wrong and then to say, okay, I want to try something else. What I enjoy most about math and chemistry is, okay, I get something wrong. All right, that wasn't right, but I have a second idea, right? You want to play with things. This should almost be a fun, enjoyable experience. If you come to my office for help, hey, guess what? Sometimes I'll work a problem wrong. It's like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? I knew I should have accounted for the pressure when I worked that problem. I don't know why I forgot about pressure. So let's try it again, working pressure, right? You're going to play with things. You're going to get things wrong on those first couple attempts. That's one of the reasons I'm giving you 6 attempts. So work it at least 3 times, then come and ask me. And then you'll have still 3 attempts to look at what I've done to help you and still try to get it right. And be forewarned, when you do ask me for a homework problem help, I will use different numbers in my answer to you than you will see on face-to-face. That way you can follow along what I did without actually having me solve the problem for you. Student hints. They have hints available to you on some problems. There is no penalty for using those hints. Now, if you answer a problem without it, I give you a 2% bonus. Also, if you give up on a homework problem, you lose all credit for it. Just be aware of that. All right, let's talk about late work and homework. If you look at this schedule, you'll notice there are 2 columns. There is the to-do date and there is the emergency date. If you want to pass the class, if you want to get my help on something, you will do this homework on this date. However, I understand life happens. I understand you're sitting down to do your homework on the 14th and you've got everything all sprouted out at the kitchen table, and all of a sudden your 8-year-old says, Dad, I don't feel so good, and throws up on top of you, right? Not going to be getting a lot of homework done that day. I understand that you're planning to do your homework as soon as you get home from work. You get a flat tire on the West Kentucky Parkway during one of those cell phone dead zones, and it could be an hour to 3 hours before you get that problem solved because you have to walk for help or change the flat tire yourself. I understand life happens. Because I understand life happens, because life happens to me just like it happens to you, that's why I have what I call an emergency date. This is not something you should think of as a due date. It is an emergency date. Break glass in case of emergency. Yes? You have until the emergency date before an assignment is counted late. You should do the assignment on this date because this gives you time to ask me questions. It gives you time for life to happen. However, you don't lose any points until after this date. After 11:59 p.m. on the emergency date, you get a 2.5% penalty, right? After that emergency date, it costs you 2.5% a day for every day your homework isn't done. By the way, I have Mastering Chemistry set to go negative. So guess what? After 40 days, that undone homework begins subtracting from your total number of points. Be forewarned. Also, there is a drop dead date for every course, and that drop dead date is given right here in your syllabus. It's different every semester. But after that date there, I will not accept any work. I don't care if you got rushed to the hospital at the last moment. I don't care if you were in a car wreck at the last moment. This is the drop dead date. I have to turn in my own grades. This date is not set because I'm mean and I'm a control freak and I want to subtract 50 points from Gryffindor. No, this date is set so that I can get the grades in, right? I am accountable and I have my own due date at which I have to turn grades in, or I get in trouble. So this date is set so that I can turn in grades. Therefore, it is rigid, set in stone, nothing I can do about it. That having been said, that date shouldn't be a concern for you if you're working off the to-do date instead of the emergency date. Another thing to note, is I'm still working on your schedule a little bit, but the difference between the late date, the difference between the to-do date and the emergency date begins to narrow as the semester begins to end. It drops from a week down to 3 days, and then finally down to same day, right? Well, I guess it doesn't this semester I'm looking at. A lot of the times it drops down to no days difference, right? The day you should do something is the emergency date. So there's no week guarantee there, and at the end of the semester, by its nature, that difference between the end date, between the emergency date and the to-do date almost disappears, and sometimes does disappear. One thing I should note is while I'm very generous about late homework, matter of fact, if you're late on the homework, you don't have to email me and ask me to open it for you. I have it programmed to stay open at that 2.5% a day penalty. However, if you are late on a test or an exam, and in this class we're only really having tests, but people use different terms, I will not open those up unless you've done the homework. If you're working off an emergency date for an exam or test and you miss it, you are in serious trouble in this course. And I'm not talking because I'm going to be a jerk and refuse to open it. I'm talking because you are so far behind, you are in serious jeopardy of not finishing the course in time. Remember, I have you doing assignments that you should do to due date. I have these two due dates running up through the very last day of course. So if you're working off the emergency dates here, you're actually a week behind, right? If you find yourself turning in assignments consistently on the emergency date, you should be panicked because it means you're a week behind where you need to be in order to pass the class successfully. And one of the reasons I don't automatically have those exams and tests set to allow you to turn things in late is if you're late on those exam or tests, I want to remind you that you're late on exams or tests. Another thing, I won't open those tests or exams for you unless all the lecture quizzes and all the homework associated with those tests and exams have been completed. Whereas if you're working off the emergency dates, you might be able to do half of the last homework and the test would still be open and available to you. Now, you'll probably score lousy on it, but what I'm saying is if you're late on a test or an exam, I can make sure you do all that work, and I will. I'll go through every single homework assignment and make sure you've done every single problem. All right, reset policy. Upon occasion, and these are extreme circumstances, if you are using more than 3 resets during the course of the semester, something's wrong, right? And these strikes or resets are for power outages, internet outages, that sort of thing. If you have an internet outage while you're taking a test or an exam, I will reset it for you. I will let you do that 3 times. After 3 times, it costs you 10%. If you find yourself in a scenario where you've already used 2 strikes, I would recommend driving to your public library or McDonald's or someplace where you have more stable power and more stable internet access than you do at your house. Because I have never, ever had anybody need more than 3 strikes. Withdrawal policy. Withdraw up to the last day. You see a date here in front of you in your syllabus. That date there is simply in time for you to process the paperwork. Oh, I got off where I was going here. Real quickly, back up to taking the class. Woo! Scrolling back up there. Work the homework. After you work the homework, if you have trouble with the homework, seek help. One thing I never want you feeling in this class is that you're alone. You're not alone in this class. Seek help. One of the reasons I do this question help message board is you'll often post a question on that question help message board over a homework problem, and I'll get 5 or 6 other people jumping in and either helping you with it, or they themselves will say, I'm so glad you asked that. I don't know the answer to that one too. I'm having trouble with it. It helps break the feeling of isolation that can persist in an online course. Also, I'm here to help you. That's what you're paying me for. So ask me those questions. Make sure you watch the lecture over how to ask questions here in a second. You're going to spend 90 minutes, 2 days a week over the semester, 4 days a week over the summer listening to me lecture. And you're going to spend 1.5 to 3 hours on homework every day. Also, towards the end of the semester, you're going to find homework assignments that are 100% bonus points. So that's what I was meaning when I said homework's a rigged game. Now, those bonus points for homework only apply to the homework percentage, but everybody in this class who passes it generally have that 15% of their final grade that's made out of homework. People are generally who pass the course are getting 14% to 16% out of the 15%. Yeah, that's right. I offer enough bonus points on the homework that you'll find people getting 16% maxed out as opposed to 15% maxed out. So be aware your homework's 15% of your final grade. But if you do the homework, you take it seriously, out of that 15 points, you should be earning easy 13, 14, 15, 16 of them. It's a rigged game in your favor. Same way for those lecture quizzes. It's writing down keywords. Most people get like that 5%. They're getting 4.8. Let me also say this. I get people upset because they'll have missed a word in a lecture and they'll be like, I was paying attention. How did I miss the word? Relax, to quote Aaron Rodgers. Relax. You're going to miss one every now and then. It happens. However, if it's just 1 or 3 throughout the course of the semester, you're still going to wind up with 5% because you're going to take so many of these lecture quizzes. You're going to have upwards of 30 of them before the end of the semester, 20 to 30 of them. That missing 1 point out of a possible 400 isn't going to affect your grade. So just relax. Don't panic. Don't think your life is over. Right? It's 5%. You could get none of the keywords and still get a 95% possible. Where your grade is deeply impacted is those exams and tests. I call them exams here. I call them tests, I think, in Mastering Chemistry. You're going to have 5 exams and a final, and they're going to make up 80% of your grade. But if you've done the homework and you've reviewed your notes the night before the exam, then you're going to do fine. One caveat, as an anti-cheating measure, no one can receive a grade in the class higher than their homework average. If for some reason you score, if for some odd reason, and you'll understand what I'm saying, that I would find it very odd that someone scored 100 on all their exams, but yet didn't do any of the homework, so they only had a 10% on their homework, but yet they had 100 in all their exams, I'm going to give you an E. If somehow you scored a 75% on your homework, but yet you had a 100 on your exams, I'm going to give you the 75. There are 4 exams, 5 exams. There are 600 something homework problems. I think you can see where I'm going with this. As I said, most of the time, if you're doing the homework, you're going to get an A or higher on the homework. I very rarely, I mean, I can count on one finger the number of times I've had people pass this course and not had at least an 88 or higher on the homework, percentile-wise on the homework. Therefore, I cap your grade based on your homework. Doesn't mean I'm going to give you the grade in the class you receive on your homework. It just means I cap your grade at your homework. I go with a weighted grade based on that formula. But I won't pass anybody who doesn't pass each one of the individual parts. I won't pass you if you don't pass the lecture quizzes. I won't pass you if you don't receive a passing grade on the homework. I won't receive you if you don't pass a passing grade on the tests. Scrolling down. Withdrawal policy, I'm happy to let you withdraw. Just remember that every college, well, first of all, the big thing about a withdrawal policy, I don't have the power to withdraw you. Emailing me and saying I'm withdrawing doesn't get you withdrawn. There are no buttons I can press to make that happen. I can't log into my computer and withdraw you. You have to go through your school's website and file the correct form and fill out the correct link. Now, your school, depending on their policy, may ask you to email me and give permission. And I'm happy to let you do that as long as we're in the correct time frame. And I have a date in the syllabus there that should meet all of the time frames of all the various colleges. But just be aware of that, right? Don't email me at midnight the day before your college's deadline. Then you're going to miss out, yes? But be aware of that. Also, be aware that I'm asking you to write down CHO. Everybody write down CHO. All right, and here's a bunch of legal stuff. Also, I am currently serving as division chair. Normally, I'm the person you complain to when you have a problem with a professor. If you in some way think I have violated your academic rights, I am referring you to the former biology division chair, and that is their contact information there. This is not to be used for questions, homework, or assignments. This is if you think that I have violated your academic rights. All right, that having been said, let's give a couple takeaway messages here. First and foremost, I'm here to help you. I want to help you. This course is going to be great fun because chemistry is easy and life is hard. Just make sure you come to me when you need that help. I look forward to working with you all. We are going to have the best semester of your entire life. And as usual, I'm talking too long, so I'm getting out of here. Make sure you take the syllabus quiz right away, or you wind up getting reported as non-attending. That's it, and may the force be with you.